Hey everyone, I wanted to do a little bit of a follow-up video for Monster Hunter Generation 6 or World 2 or Paradise or whatever the naming convention is, as I made a video about a week or so ago discussing how an insider was claiming that the game is set to be revealed not just relatively soon, but we should also be able to see a brand new trailer and more details soon to follow heading into 2024. And in this video I want to do not just a follow-up on that, since we have a couple of more details for that as well, but more importantly I also want to discuss the potential implications that this could be a day one PlayStation 5 Pro release, since we have been receiving a lot of brand new leaks regarding the potential PlayStation 5 Pro not just being revealed later this year before heading into 2024, but also when it's set to release, which interestingly enough lines up specifically with the previously talked about rumors regarding Generation 6's new Monster Hunter game, so it could potentially end up being a launch day title for that brand new revisited platform. So I do want to make a couple of clarifications. First and foremost, this is a lot of speculation. There are a lot of rumors. They are trusted sources, but still at the end of the day they are just rumors at that, leaks to some degree, but again, do take that with a grain of salt. I like to be as thorough and as clear as possible so people do not get the wrong idea and do not get confused by the content that it is that I'm trying to cover and explain for my audience. So first and foremost, I simply just want to reiterate what I spoke about in my previous video. If you guys didn't necessarily catch it, the leaker Dusk Golem, who has been leaking stuff for Capcom for quite a long time, many years, he's gotten plenty of things right, some things wrong, but that is, you know, it's part of the game. It is what it is. Leaks are not always 100% accurate unless you're actually data mining stuff like we did back with base Monster Hunter Rise and Sunbreak. So Dusk Golem did take to a specific Discord channel called the Snitch Discord channel, where he was basically speaking to other people who basically are in the know, talking about a couple of leaks regarding Capcom. You should be seeing the images pop up on the screen. A little bit of a conversation that was captured by a couple of users, shared around. I made a video covering all of that, and essentially the big catch of it all was that Capcom will be releasing revealing a big major game here in 2023, fall of 2023, and it will be releasing in fall of 2024. He also talks about Resident Evil 9 and stuff like that and all of that, which is not necessarily relevant, and I don't want to get into that in this specific video. Again, trust the source because he has gotten plenty of things right, some things wrong, but at the end of the day he has covered a lot of Capcom leaks. So that is what I covered pretty much in a previous video about a week or so ago. Around the same time, I also made a video talking about the Capcom fiscal report for June, in which they were talking about expect major Monster Hunter news coming up pretty much around the time of Tokyo Game Show. This was pretty much part in line with what Ryoso Sugimoto spoke back in January, where they were going to be talking about the next major Monster Hunter game sometime in this year. So this is something we've kind of already known. And there is the major one. So essentially what took place here is that a relatively well-known insider and journalist called Tom Henderson basically put up an article. This would have been a couple of days ago by the time this video goes live, where he's talking about the PlayStation 5 Pros, or aka Project Trinity, and PlayStation 5 Slim basically being like pseudo leaked or pseudo revealed to some insiders. So a lot of information has started to pop up. I'm going to be going over a lot of details for the article, but the main key takeaways here is that the PlayStation 5 Pro is going to be releasing fall of 2024. This pretty much falls in line with what we spoke about just a minute ago regarding Generation 6, Monster Hunter 6, you know, World 2, Paradise, whatever, that game releasing around the same time. If you know anything about console releases, is that every major console, this being a Nintendo Switch channel, you should already know that every Nintendo console has released with a major title in hand. PlayStation works in the same manner. Every PlayStation 4 launch with a couple of major releases. PlayStation 5 launch with Miles Morales, the pseudo sequel, or add-on to the main Spider-Man game. The second Spider-Man game is being teased a lot now. A couple of trailers were being revealed. Every console needs to launch with a couple of major games, whether they are console exclusives, whether they're first party or third party, it doesn't quite matter. As long as they can get that audience moving onto their platform, that is what every major console wants to do. And PlayStation and certainly Sony would be smart to try to get Capcom to give them, specifically if they could like lock it in as an exclusive, which I wouldn't particularly expect them to do, lock in Monster Hunter Gen 6 at the very least in Asia, you know, in Japan, would go a long way to lock it in as an exclusive for even as a limited time type of thing. This is something that we have seen them do with like Final Fantasy, for example. Every major Final Fantasy game in the past few years has been pretty much a console exclusive to PlayStation, to, you know, to some degree. So, you know, it wouldn't necessarily surprise me even if at the very least they could lock it in down in Asia. So I'm going to be leaving a link in the description below, not only for the Dust Golem post, of course, at the bottom of this video, but also to the original Key to Gaming article from Tom Henderson. So I want to go over a couple of key points here because there is a lot to cover, and pretty much I'm trying to put 2 and 2 together here. If Capcom is releasing Monster Hunter Gen 6 around fall of next year, and a brand new PlayStation pseudo, you know, boosted version of a PlayStation 5 is set to launch around the same time, it shouldn't shock anyone that is a launch title, and that is pretty much what we're trying to say here. According to the article, again, link in the description below, they mentioned that it's been months since Xbox chief Phil Spencer revealed that in an interview that Microsoft does not have plans for a mid-generation refresh for the Xbox Series X and S. According to Spencer, Xbox has received the feedback that would warrant such a refresh, that with 2 SKUs already available on the market from the Xbox side of things. That feedback isn't surprising. In fact, according to Digital Foundry, the company has said during that the Xbox Series X and X revealed that the Series X is already this generation's Xbox Pro offering, and the company decided to launch it ahead of time. But despite Xbox stances on another console, where does that leave PlayStation? Well, according to my own sources, and this is Tom Henderson talking, who asked to remain anonymous because they were unauthorized to speak on such details, a PlayStation 5 Pro is in development and is codenamed Trilogy. Now, we have known about the PlayStation 5 Pro now for multiple, like, I want to say months, only because of that entire FTC regulation thing regarding Xbox or Microsoft not being able to buy Activision and Blizzard. A lot of little stuff from the, you know, background was basically trickled out. So we have known that there is a PlayStation 5 Pro in the works, in the same way that we knew about the PlayStation handheld, for example. The article continues, if you think the codename has some form of familiarity, then you're right. Sony has used the Matrix codenames in the past with the PlayStation 4 Pro under the codename Neo and the PlayStation VR under Morpheus. It is understood that Trinity has been in development since early 2022, with sources citing that although the rumors of a canceled PlayStation 5 Pro project are always fun to read, Trinity has been the only project in the works for the Pro model. Despite the dates being tentative, it's understood that in the demo events for the PlayStation 5 Pro are already ongoing, with the majority of studios receiving development kits by late November 2023. So remember, this video is probably going to go up around late June or so, but the article's already talking that in November. So no more than like 3 to 4 months from now, development kits for the PlayStation 5 Pro are going to be in developer hands. That gives essentially Capcom, if that is the connection that we're making here, an entire year to work on Gen 6, World 2, Paradise, whatever, on optimizing the game as best as possible for the next pseudo upgraded PlayStation. Of course, we still expect it to run on base PlayStation 5, but of course, you know, they want to make it look as best as possible on this upgraded platform. The article continues. Although the Pro specs were difficult to pin down, admittedly due to the lack of technological prowess, sources have stated that Trinity, I don't know why I'm struggling with that name, will have 30 WGP and 1800 or 18,000 MTS memories. So they're talking about a massive power gap between this one and the current PlayStation 5. As for the console's performance, the targets are expected to be the PlayStation 5 Pro will be targeting improved and consistent FPS at 4K resolution. That's a relatively vague statement because it doesn't really say lock 60 or even up to 120. which, you know, they already struggle to do as it is. A new performance mode for 8K resolution and accelerated ray tracing. Now, let's remember, one of the biggest criticisms that PlayStation 5 has had in their marketing is that in the box that they put 8K resolution. As of right now, I believe there's only one game that can do 8K. There's no actual games that run in 8K other than one, and it's like an indie title. So for them to even try to push 8K when most people just are starting to upgrade to 4K TVs is kind of silly. I mean, I just recently bought a TV like 2 years ago, and I'm not about to up to 4K, and I'm not about to buy an 8K TV. That's just ridiculous. So, you know, at the end of the day, I don't necessarily know who this is for, and ray tracing, once again, is so like, it's so random that I'm not necessarily too crazy about the opportunity of just running an 8K game with ray tracing and pretend that that is the end all be all. But again, they're chasing visuals, not actual gameplay. Whether or not PlayStation 5 Pro console is desired enough to be in the current market remains is yet to be seen. But as of this time of writing, the PlayStation 5 Pro is in development and is targeting release of November 2024. Trinity appears to be the PlayStation's last bits of major hardware for this generation, after reporting on almost everything from the DualSense Edge via controllers, via try-hard guides, the Project Q, PlayStation's new wireless earbuds via Insider Gaming, and the next time you hear on PlayStation hardware report from me will likely be on the PlayStation 6, which is currently targeting a 2028 release date. That specific date, I believe, comes from the Xbox, again, FTC, you know, entire court hearings or whatever that they had, where Xbox was saying that the next mainline generation of consoles, including Xbox, I don't know, Xbox Series X2 or whatever they end up calling the next thing, will most likely be heading into pretty much the end of the decade. Lastly, they mentioned that, as mentioned on my Twitter account, I currently have no information on the PlayStation 5 Slim rumors, as reported via Insider Gaming. A new PlayStation 5 with a detachable disc drive is expected to launch later this year. It is understood that this isn't a slim version and is set to completely replace the existing PlayStation 5. Now, in order to clarify the entirety of this PlayStation 5 Slim rumors, you need to have read that article, but I will say this, there are rumors as of right now that PlayStation 5 will receive a $50 price cut across the board, not just in Europe but Asia and here in North America as well, heading into fall of 2024. These, again, rumors, speculation, you know, take with a grain of salt, etc., etc., but apparently they're supposed to drop about $50 worth in price, so Sony essentially can move all the stock of the old PlayStation 5s that they have available, so this new PlayStation 5 quote-unquote Slim with the detachable hard drive or the disk drive can end up becoming the default PlayStation 5. So you essentially buy a digital PS5, that becomes the standard one. They remove all the digital ones, all the disk drive PS5 ones, the big bulky ones that we have right now. They become obsolete essentially. Well, they become, you can't buy them in a store anymore because they've already sold all of those out. The same thing that Nintendo did with like the Switch V2 or whatever, and then the OLED and stuff like that. So essentially they replace all the old ones with the new detachable disk drive ones, but you have to buy the disk drive separately if you want to upgrade. So they're basically making disk media kind of like a little bit obsolete at the same time, because if you want a disk drive, you have to pay extra for it, and in order to get that, you have to buy it separately. So there's no longer the option of like you could just buy the $500 one or the $400 one. You just end up buying, you know, an attachable part to the current, you know, slim PS5 to be able to get that disk drive in there. So all in all, PlayStation is making massive moves. They need to. They've kind of lost a lot of like goodwill because they have not been releasing a lot of games as of late. They are still losing the battle when it comes to the public's audience with this entire Activision, Blizzard, Microsoft debacle of a lawsuit that they try to take into court, and they just were made to be look like fools. And at the end of the day, them trying to push into getting a brand new console out there, an updated console that is most likely going to be more powerful than the ones that we have now, obviously, and at the same time connecting that to Capcom already lining up. This is the thing that I wouldn't necessarily put past Sony. Capcom already was working on the game. We've known about Monster Hunter Gen 6 for multiple years by now. This is even going back to the Capcom leak. But the thing here is that, if they could work in some sort of exclusivity deal, even if it's just in Asia, that gives them a leg up. At the end of the day, whether the next mainline Monster Hunter game comes to Xbox worldwide except Asia, that will be on Xbox end to be able to deal with. Whether they, make a deal with Nintendo or not to be able to put it on the next mainline Switch, which by then we expect Nintendo to have a new console. That's entirely up to Nintendo. But at the end of the day, it's in Sony's best interest to be able to get a game of that caliber into their portfolio on day one. So does this confirm anything? Probably not. But again, all the rumors are beginning to line up, and that is why I wanted to talk about this. Certainly do let me know in the comments what you guys think regarding everything that's happening, and would you be happy with Capcom choosing some sort of timed exclusivity or PlayStation 5 Pro exclusivity to some degree? If you're brand new to my channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, hit the bell to receive notifications when the videos go up, and as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya.